Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Danielle Gray, host of Access Your Inner Divine, a podcast I created to help you connect with your spiritual essence and tap into your inner intuitive self energy healer by sharing bite sized talks and guided meditations and mind journeys. Today, this episode is about trusting the visions you get in meditations, through self energy work, or other mind journeys that you go on either alone or with a spiritual ally or spirit guides. I do want to preface this topic with the concept of discernment because it's important to be able to decipher between what's useful and what's not, what is coming from your true spiritual essence, and what's coming as the voice of other people's beliefs and opinions that don't actually ring true to or for you, that come disguised as your higher self or quote spirit team. Or is it subconscious junk that your brain has taken on and doesn't have a need for making its way up and out of your conscious mind? We need to take the time and have patience and a healthy dose of curiosity to be able to differentiate and discern these aspects. Take time often to sit with yourself and sift through what is coming to and through you and identify what category it belongs in. If it doesn't feel right, if it makes your core tighten in an uncomfortable way, brings anxiety or fear that isn't going to lead to growth or overcoming obstacles in a healthy way, or is just negative or causes you to want to cause harm or chaos to self or others, I would venture to say that this is both not useful and also is not coming from your true spiritual essence. And if you find connecting to your spiritual essence causes a lot of disturbing or dark things to come up, I highly encourage you to find a fully trained and experienced mental health professional that you trust and that supports your spiritual beliefs and your spiritual journey, and meeting with them to help you work through what needs to be worked through. I know from personal experience that working with such an individual can be life-changing and incredibly helpful. That being said, let's move into how to trust the visions you're receiving from your true spiritual essence, or your inner divine, as I like to call it, or if you work with spirit guides, angels, or ascended masters. How do you learn to trust it? Should you trust it? When should you follow the guidance, or when should you not follow the guidance? Trusting your visions is a dance. It's a dance between your left logical analytical brain and your right intuitive sensing feeling brain. It's a dance between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. When we receive visions or visual impressions from external sources like your guides, your higher self, etc., I have found from every experience I've had, it comes from your subconscious. The subconscious is the deeper layer of your psyche that speaks the language of images, mental movies, and symbolism. It speaks more in metaphors and parables. Whereas the conscious mind is the surface of what grabs our attention from the external world through our physical senses. So external sight, sound, touch, smell, taste. The conscious mind takes everything literally. For example, you see a red apple. That's all your conscious mind sees and interprets it as. It moves on to the next thing that grabs its attention. But your subconscious, it sees the red apple. And if you allow yourself to slip into a deeper state of relaxation, and you can get your brainwaves to a slower state, like alpha or theta, and focus on the red apple, it will very likely assign a deeper meaning to it, depending on how contemplative and stretchy your cognitive stretching abilities are in that moment. It will assign a meaning to it that correlates to a past experience with red apples. Maybe a memory comes up about you sitting outside as a small child, enjoying a beautiful sunny day, eating a crisp red apple. When you receive any type of visual in a psychic or inner spiritual way, it is coming through the space that your subconscious produces visuals. It's also the space your imagination uses as a blank canvas. Now, how is the conscious mind a part of the inner vision or spiritual sight process, and how does it affect your ability to trust what's coming through? The conscious mind is the part of your brain that will be doing the interpretation of whatever visual or other spiritual ability sense it's picked up from the subconscious mind. But because the conscious mind takes things much more literal than your subconscious does, it can sometimes create an affliction. It takes time, practice, and patience to be able to intertwine with and allow your conscious mind to be open to interpreting the symbols coming through the subconscious as metaphorical or parables, and then to translate that into an accurate message or information that is useful or healing into your grounded physical reality. It's like playing charades. So when I used to be set on becoming a medium and was open to receiving messages from other people's dearly departed loved ones in spirit, it was a constant game of charades. except a lot of different inner spiritual senses played together at the same time to help me gather as much data with accuracy as possible. It's honestly like trying to learn another language. The conscious mind, if not practiced enough in trying to learn the language of your own personal symbolism and the intuitive feelings and meanings you attach to the visuals you're seeing, it will always feel like it clashes with what your subconscious, your guides, whatever external source is trying to relay to you. So, how can you start to be more open to trusting what's coming in? You need to start playing with the images you're receiving, and you need to practice discerning the source in which it's coming from. I'm going to be honest and say that it is such a slim chance that a vision you're going to receive will be literal. It can and it does happen, but being on this path for so many years has shown me personally that you have to look deeper into the visuals, way deeper than your conscious or analytical mind can. Your conscious mind is needed in the process, but so are your intuitive feelings and associations that you have to the images or the elements, objects, whatever is in the images or the mind movies. What I like to do as an exercise to help interpret the images so that I can put trust into what I'm receiving is to get into a meditative state. I either put on some headphones and listen to theta or alpha waves to get me into a state and to block out any distractive noises, or I'll even guide myself into a body asleep, mind awake state. And so that's the process of taking your attention and moving it inwards. I'll be uploading a few guided mind journeys in the near future that focus on this state and can help you get into it a little bit easier. And so once I'm in a relaxed state and I feel like I'm in a daydreaming state, I'll go back to previous visions or dreams and isolate each object or element and feel into it. You want to use your emotions and then see how it makes your body feel. Does that element or object relate to anything memorable? What does it remind you of? If you could find the meaning of the metaphor, what would it be? What would it be based on how you feel about it? I'll give you a personal example. The other night I had a dream that I was using tweezers to remove a hair, but when I pulled it, it was so painful and about 10 hairs came out of that one follicle. I went up to my husband in the dream, nervous, and told him what happened and that I believed I had more like this. He took my hand and he told me that it was okay and he was going to help me get the rest out so that I wouldn't have to be alone to do it. Now, how did I interpret and trust that this vision was meaningful and accurate? I sat with my dream journal and I wrote down all the details and feelings I got from all the aspects of this dream. I knew intuitively that the pulling out the hairs equated to letting go of or removing something in my life that didn't belong. I felt in my dream that I had to pull my hairs out in secret and I didn't want my husband to know. But in my real life, in reality, outside of the dream, I had actually relapsed back into a cigarette addiction and I had been keeping it a secret because I felt like my husband would be like really disappointed in me. In my dream, I was nervous, but I still went to him to admit what I was doing and I was met with support and encouragement. But in my real life, I still hadn't told him that I had been smoking again. So after I interpreted this dream, I decided that I was going to be honest and text him and admit that I had been sneaking around and expressed my shame and disappointment in myself to him and that I was truly trying to get rid of the habit again. I apologized for hiding it, and then I sat around nervously waiting for his text of disappointment in me. But what actually happened was he texted me back and wasn't upset. He was actually encouraging me and gave me some ideas of what to do when I had cravings. He wasn't upset with me and he didn't make me feel like a failure. It actually made the weights and the tension and the guilt for hiding it release off of me. And it's been very helpful in my quitting journey. And his support gave me the courage to throw away the pact that I had. So if I had not trusted this vision, this dream I had, and had not acted on it, I likely would still be sneaking around, taking 10 hours to scrub my hands, face, and hair, and teeth, and lying about why I had to go outside. And then that would just make me feel more guilty, which would prompt me to want to use cigarettes as a crutch to bury the guilt. It would have continued to be a smoking, hiding, guilt cycle. But before I decided to trust and act on what I felt this dream represented to me, I needed to weigh the pros and cons before I decided to fully trust and act on it. And I highly suggest that you do this as well. There needs to be a healthy dose of common sense when we decide to fully surrender to what we're receiving spiritually. This is where the discernment process comes into play. Is what we received useful? Is it positive? Is it going to help us move forward in a way we need to? Or is it going to cause a mess? Is it going to cause unnecessary pain or hurt to myself, to anybody else? Is it something we need to proceed with cautiously, or is it something where the risk of following it has pros that outweigh the cons? For example, if you interpret your vision or dream to mean that you should start your own creative business endeavor, does that mean you should immediately quit your day job and not think about the consequences? Or should you keep your day job to ensure your physical needs are met and slowly begin to incorporate your endeavor into your spare time until you have reached the threshold of, being able to fully provide for yourself and your loved ones and still have an emergency fund in case it doesn't work out in the way that you planned? Remember, we are still physical beings, and very often we have to play according to the laws of reality. Being able to trust your inner visions takes many times of experiencing the outcomes of how you interpret and follow the messages within those visions before it becomes natural. And you can trust your conscious mind to accurately interpret and dance well with your intuitive subconscious. You need to journal or record all the instances, whether they've turned out to be accurate or not, whether it's been from your true spiritual essence, or alternatively, the junk that comes from a lower source or accumulated mental garbage. This is how you will be able to tell the difference and be able to trust what is coming through, what it is something that can be trusted. Test the waters, be patient, have fun with it, celebrate all the times that it's been accurate, learn from when it hasn't been. I really wish that there was an instantaneous way of deciphering, but it's just one of those things that needs to be experienced over and over again. And you will one day find it easier to trust and surrender and say, yes, this is helpful. This vision was healing, or the breakthrough I needed at this time. So until next time, happy experimenting and playing in your realms of dreams and visions. If you want to reach out and let me know how this exercise has gone for you, feel free. Not, enjoy this beautiful day.